There's a question we've been asking ourselves forever. Are we alone? Well, a huge announcement from NASA might have just nudged us a little bit closer to an answer. So today we are diving deep into what could be a historic discovery on the red planet. Let's get into it. Yeah, you heard that right. That is a huge statement. When the acting head of NASA comes out and says something like that, you know this isn't just hype. A quote like this sent ripples around the globe, and for a very good reason. So what on Mars did they actually find? Okay, let's set the scene. The date is September 10th, 2025. NASA calls a press conference and the whole world is listening. They announce that they found what they are very carefully calling a potential biosignature. Now that phrase right there, that's the key to this whole story. Now here's the crucial part to understand. They didn't find a Martian, they didn't even find a tiny fossil. What they found is more like a chemical footprint, a clue baked into a rock that strongly hints that ancient life could have been there. It's not the smoking gun just yet, but man, it might be the most compelling piece of evidence we've ever seen. And look, this didn't just happen overnight. This discovery has been years in the making. Perseverance touched down way back in 2021. It drilled this specific rock in the summer of 2024, and then it took scientists a full year of analysis before they felt confident enough to tell the world. All right, let's dig into the actual evidence. Think of this whole thing like a cosmic detective story. The Perseverance rover, that's our investigator on the scene, and it just sent back a major clue from a spot they've nicknamed Sapphire Canyon. First off, the location is just perfect. Jezero crater used to be a lake, and this rock is a mudstone. That's exactly the kind of place you'd look for ancient fossils here on Earth, because that fine-grained sediment is great at preserving things. And it's packed with the ingredients for life. It's the right rock, in the right place, with the right stuff. And when they looked at this rock, it wasn't just some boring slab. No way. It was covered in these really distinct patterns that the science team even gave nicknames to. Little tiny poppy seeds, and these larger splotches they started calling leopard spots. These weren't just random marks, they were mineral deposits that hinted at something much bigger. So this is the big question, right? Could these spots, these leopard spots and poppy seeds, actually be the chemical leftovers of ancient Martian life? This is the core idea, the hypothesis that has the entire science community buzzing. Let's break down exactly what they found. Okay, so the first mineral they identified in these spots is something called Vivianite. Now, get this. Its nickname here on Earth is pretty memorable. They call it corpse crystal. Yeah, that's because it's almost always found alongside decaying organic material. Finding that on Mars is a huge flag, in a very good way. And the second mineral is called Greigite. And this one is maybe even more direct. Here on our planet, there are certain types of bacteria that literally produce Greigite as a waste product of their metabolism. It's a mineral that's directly tied to the activity of life. So you put those two clues together, and the theory is actually pretty simple. Billions of years ago, tiny microbes could have been living in the Martian mud, eating the organic matter around them, and just leaving behind Vivianite and Greigite as waste. Those leopard spots could literally be the fossilized chemical footprint of an ancient meal. And this is exactly why this find is so special. Look, don't just take my word for it. The lead sample scientist, Dr. Joel Hirowitz, said that out of all the rocks they've looked at, this is the only one that has what they believe is a potential biosignature. It's their #1 candidate by far.
But, and you knew there was a but coming, this is a really, really big one. Science demands that you question everything. And like the old saying goes, extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence. So before we pop the champagne, we have to ask, could this all just be weird geology?
So you basically have two competing ideas on the table. On one side, you have the biological origin we've been talking about. But on the other, you have the abiotic, or non-living origin. It is possible that some weird, non-living chemical reactions, maybe involving acidic water or heat, could have made these exact same mineral patterns. As one scientist put it so well, Mars might have just conspired to present features that mimic the activity of life. So, where does that leave us? Given these two possibilities, how confident are the scientists, really? Well, it's not just a gut feeling. Believe it or not, they actually have a scale for this. It's called the COLD scale, which stands for Confidence of Life Detection. It goes from step 1, which is just a vague hint, all the way to step 7, which is a definitive, no doubt about it, discovery. So where is this finding it sitting? It's sitting right around a step 4. That means it's a huge deal. It's a potential biosignature, and non-biological explanations are tough to come up with, but they can't be completely ruled out yet. And the lead scientist himself confirms it. He says, look, based on the rover data alone, we can't completely rule out those non-living processes. The data from Perseverance is incredible, but it can only tell us so much from millions of miles away. The case for life is strong, but the case for geology is still open. Which brings us to the final and most crucial part of this whole story. If the rover can't give us the final answer, what can? How do we get from step 4 to that glorious step 7 and solve this thing for good? Well, there's really only one way. We have to get that rock. That sample is sitting in a sealed tube on the surface of Mars right now, just waiting for a ride home. Here on Earth, we have labs with instruments so powerful they could make a definitive ruling. They could find the proof that only life can create. And here's the drama. The mission designed to do exactly that is called the Mars Sample Return Mission. It's the key to everything. But this incredibly complex and ambitious plan is facing some very real-world problems right now, like major budget cuts and potential delays.
Just think about that for a second. We are this close, tantalizingly close, to answering one of the biggest questions we've ever asked, and the final piece of evidence could end up sitting in a little metal tube stranded on Mars 100 million miles away.
And that leaves us with the ultimate cliffhanger. Did Perseverance find the fossilized ghost of an ancient Martian neighbor? Or is the red planet just a brilliant artist painting a perfect imitation of life that's just good enough to fool us? The final answer is out there, sealed in a rock, just waiting for us to come and get it.